Go for it, Sniggby.
Okay. We have been in Maui, Hawaii for about 2 weeks now. 12 days to be exact. And we have done the road Hana, which we have clips of. And we did the Sliding Sands Trail in Haleakala National Park. That was really fun. The trail itself goes down into the crater, which was made by erosion, not the volcano. Super rainy the day we did it, and the fog and the clouds and stuff were all misty over the crater, and then the clouds would break every once in a while, so it was a really cool hike. It wasn't too hot. We ended up getting turned around. We took the wrong trail, and then we had to go back a little ways, and then we took the right trail, and then we hiked out mostly at sunset, but we had to do this kind of sketchy switchbacky part up to, I'm not even gonna attempt to say the trail name. We headed back up. There's this switchback trail up to that trailhead, and we did that in the dark, so that was a little more sketchy. But overall it was about a 15-mile hike, which was pretty far considering I thought it was only going to be 12, but since we missed that turn, it turned out to be 15. Sorry, there's 3 people who just pulled up. It was really strange. These people. So today is our last day in Maui. We leave tonight at 11:59, so technically we have the whole day here. It is Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday, if you will. So we're excited to spend today with a bit of a surprise that we have in store specifically for Kodiak. So we shall take you on our little adventure today. We didn't really film a whole lot besides those 3 events here in Hawaii, but we will definitely give you our top 5 and our least favorite 5 at the very end. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for our new adventure. On to your adventure.
Oh yeah, on to my adventure.
On to the adventure.
We have to leave.
Let's go!
Number 1 would be Mama's Fish House. So this is specifically for foodies. We definitely absolutely adored it, just because it was the equivalency of a Michelin 3-star restaurant, which is pretty high up there. Our tab ended up being about $215. So for the 2 of us, but we both got an appetizer. We both got a meal, and we had dessert afterwards.
And drinks.
So we went all out. However, the food was literally amazing. We had macadamia encrusted mahi, as well as a bouillabaisse were our main dishes. And it was to die for. It's probably the best seafood I've ever had. It's probably some of the best food I've actually ever had as well. So that's why it's number 1, and it was amazing. You do have to have reservations to get into it, so just plan accordingly. All right, number 2.
Number 2 was the Sliding Sands Trail in Haleakala. So we loved this trail. Even though we got lost, we thought it was going to be a terrible day for it because it was rainy and drizzly and kind of crappy, but it turned out being way better. We stayed cool the entire time. We didn't get overheated. It was 15 miles, but we got lost and took a wrong detour, and so if you're going to do this trail, definitely look at your map, highlight it. The signage is pretty good on the trail, but it's not the best, so definitely know which trails you're taking. It definitely never says Sliding Sands Trail once you get down into the crater. So definitely know which trails you're taking before you get into the crater. Amazing trail though.
Number 3, which is a little controversial, the bamboo forest. So when you're going on the road to Hana, which is this infamous road that everyone's afraid of, don't be afraid of it. It's pretty easy. It's amazing. The views are just spectacular. Right after mile marker 6.5, there is a fence and some bamboo with a hole about the size of half of a human. Park right there. It's on the right side. If you're hitting it later in the day, there's going to be a ton of cars there. It's worth it. Then you'll climb through the fence and through this area, and you'll go in these like bamboo corridors down to the river and then through like up the river. There's a series of 4 major waterfalls. The first one is pretty awesome. The second one has a rope swing, and you have to climb a ladder and then climb a rope like you're watching right now to actually get up to the next one.
In order to get to the 4th waterfall, you have to swim to it. So you can climb along the edge of the river for the most part on the left-hand side, but then you get to a point where you can't go any further. You can hear the waterfall, but you can't see it. That's when you're gonna have to swim to the 4th waterfall. So worth it. Hardly anybody makes it to the 4th one. So it was super private, secluded. It was awesome. We swam right up to the waterfall. It's really deep, but do watch your knees because you will find that there are some shallow parts. So don't be kicking a whole bunch and then hit a rock. That would be sad, and it would make your hike down way worse.
Honorable mention is Mcgregor's Lighthouse. This place is basically it's just a lighthouse with a dirt road that any car could make it up, and it's just amazing for sunset. But because it's amazing for sunset, there's a ton of people there, and there's like always a ton of people there. So it's amazing for sunset. You can see quite a few whales, and it's better than the scenic view that's right up the road for it, just because there's less people than at the scenic view.
We are here in February. I think November through March is Hawaii's high season because of COVID. It is kind of chill this year, but Mcgregor's Point still had a lot of people. So definitely if you're more COVID sensitive, that is probably not going to be the best place for you to go. Because we're here in February, there are also lots of whales. So if you want to see a lot of whales, February is your time to go. Peter Lick's gallery. So if you don't know who Peter Lick is, he has sold the most expensive photograph in the world for $6.5 million. He's an incredible photographer. If you're in Maui, definitely check out his gallery. It was really cool.
Now for the top 3 things that we would skip / not do. Number 1, skim boarding. So I'm gonna say this tongue-in-cheek because I really enjoyed skim boarding. Okay? However, if you are not good at board sports, skateboards, snowboards, and / or you do not fall down well. What I mean by that is when you fall down, if you get hurt, don't do skimboarding. Talking to the guy that I rented the skimboard from, he's been skimboarding for 10 years and he still falls down, he says. So it's not something that if you fall, you can't get back up very easily. Don't do it. I would skip it. So, skimboarding. If it's not massively on your list, just skip it.
Number 2, we were so irritated to find that a lot of the restaurants here on Maui didn't update their Google listing for COVID. So a lot of times we would show up at these restaurants and they would be like, sorry, closed for the pandemic, which probably means that they've been closed for about a year, maybe a little less. So it was kind of irritating because there were a couple of restaurants that we wanted to go to, but they were closed. Watching this after COVID, then this won't be a big deal.
And that's not us being petty. I reviewed all of the places that didn't update their Google listing and gave them 1 stars because it literally takes a business owner 20 seconds. I could update a Google listing in 20 seconds. It's not hard. Just update your freaking listing. The other part of that, our number one biggest gripe, this is all about all 4 of us have the same gripe. We've been told before Maui is camper's paradise. Not even a little bit. So during COVID, Hawaii is very strict. You have to get a COVID test. You have to do all this other stuff, which is fine. It's an island. Totally get it. You're not exposed to different diseases that mainlanders are. I understand that. However, why is it that in a confined space, a cabin, a hotel, this is okay to be open, but your campgrounds, where I am so distant away from everybody that there's no possible way I'm catching anything shy of somebody barbecuing across the way, the smell of it, I'm not catching COVID at a campsite. Like, just open it. There's no, I don't understand it. If you guys are in the comments and you're fuming because you're like, you forgot about the fact that COVID only travels up grass, please leave it down there. I want to know why the campsites are closed, because it seems absolutely ridiculous to me. Also, majority of the campsites did not update their Google listing, so we landed in Maui fully planning to frickin' camp. And guess what's closed when we get to them? The frickin' campsites. So unbelievably frustrating. Unbelievably frustrating.
It's not to say that there's no camping here. It's just that majority of it is illegal. So the entire time we had a really rough time finding places that were socially acceptable to camp at. And the part that's irritating is not that the campsites are closed. That is irritating, but you know what? I get it. The part that's irritating is that they've kept cabins open. So you can spend $100, $200 a night renting a cabin at the same campground, but you cannot set up a tent there. So that's the part that makes no sense. And that's the part that's really irritating. If you're going to shut something down because of COVID, be consistent with it.
And a bonus story for you. Hana, like on the other side of the island, you will get the cops called on you for illegally camping. In the middle of the island, you're much less likely to get the cops called on you. So if you are deciding, oh, maybe we should camp, maybe we shouldn't, I say that you should, because we were able to do it for about 2 weeks just fine. We stayed at a hostel for 3 nights of that, so take it with a grain of salt. We were camping for 8 to 10 days. And there's multiple places, and we didn't even touch them all. But just be warned, stay towards the middle of the island when you're car camping.
Also, if you do plan on illegally camping in Hawaii, you can get fined. We're talking to multiple people. They've gotten citations. We found it was best to ask forgiveness instead of permission because, yeah, we were really out of luck when we got here because we were planning on camping the whole time. So really glad that we didn't rent a camper van. We rented this beautiful Jeep. So it made it a little more incognito that we weren't, staying in our car, but yeah, it wasn't fun. So if you are even a little bit nervous about getting the cops called on you, definitely just rent a hostel. North Shore Hostel was freaking awesome. I would highly suggest them. Check them out. They're in a bit of a sketchier part of town, not super sketchy. They have construction going on in front of their hostel right now, so it's a little bit more noisy, but overall great people, great rooms. We really enjoyed our stay there, and would suggest them to anybody else.